Hello and welcome to this week's how-to video for parents. I'm Karen Kolp. I am a parent coach and a child development expert. I've got years of experience both in a preschool program, raising my own kids, and earning degrees in human development, family relations, and early childhood education. And I like to bring all of this knowledge and information to help you in whatever you are struggling with. And today's video is all about when you are just sick and tired and exhausted of solving problems for your kid, like when they're fighting and you feel like you've got to intervene all the time. And you sort of feel like you're managing their whole social life because you are the one who's setting everything to rights constantly. And it feels like there are just so many sibling fights or arguments or so much whining that you're just exhausted. So there's that aspect of this. And then there's also the aspect of it can be so tiring for us when our kids just don't want to put on their own shoes or their own coats or get dressed or pull up their pants after using the potty or wipe themselves. There's so much that we can feel super frustrated about. And I wanted to address all that today. So I like to try and start off with mindset and then move on to things that you can do in the moment, right? And the mindset that I have today is to share a story that happened when I was learning to be a teacher. So I got to spend a whole semester, like 5 months, 4 or 5 months, in a preschool classroom that was very special. It was, as far as my knowledge, certainly at the time, it was unique. It was in an elementary school. It was one classroom, so the teacher had charge of, I think it was about 10 kids, 10 or 12 kids, and she would get kids with serious special needs, as well as more typical kids. And it was one of those really great integrated preschool classroom. And one of the kids, the session that I was there, the semester that I was there, was a little boy who had some severe special needs. They were social things like speech and connecting with other people. And he was very often either sort of belligerent for no reason or uncommunicative. Probably that was out of frustration. He had a lot of struggles that prevented him from making friends, from like socially interacting with the other kids. And I bring it up today because at his home, his family basically enabled him to not only have the problems that he did have, which they didn't, this was inherent, like they didn't enable that, but they made things much worse at home by making him not responsible for like anything at all. So basically they were teaching him learned helplessness. And my co-teacher, the woman who ran the class, taught me that that's the worst thing you can do for any child, but for a special needs child, it's even worse, because what you're doing is you're communicating. When you do everything, oh, come here and let me help you put on your shoes. All right, I'll wipe you. I'll pull up your pants. I will get you dressed. I will, not give you any responsibilities, basically. What that teaches the child is that they can't do anything for themselves. And it brings up this thing called learned helplessness. And at the same time, learned helplessness isn't just a physical thing. It's not just for physical things like shoes or coats or clothes or setting the table or those kinds of things. Learned helplessness is also a mental trait, and it can come across in things like when we are always solving our kids' disagreements, when we are not letting them work things out themselves. We are enabling them. We're teaching them learned helplessness. I need somebody else to solve my problems, is what we're teaching them. And so the mindset of this is, we don't want that, right? We don't want that for our kids. And it's funny because at the beginning of this semester, when I was learning this, I was very much inclined, oh, this poor kid, there's no way he's going to be able to set out the napkins for snack. There's no way he's going to be able to put on his shoes. Let me help you. I will help you with these things. And the teacher basically said, no, you can't help him. He's got to learn how to do this stuff on his own. And what you need to do is build in some time into your schedule we need to build in some time into our school schedule so that he can do that. And we went from at the beginning of my semester, where this little boy would literally tantrum for 20 minutes. He would miss all the outside time because he refused to put on his own shoes or boots. And to when I was, when it was sort of April, May, and it was time for me to be done, when he knew it was recess time, he would cheerfully, with a smile on his face, go and get his shoes on so that he could be ready to go and play outside. And when he was able to do those things, it eased up the social issues for him as well, because he wasn't, kids didn't have to kind of go around him as he was tantruming. He definitely still had, he had some pretty severe issues, but what we saw were socially things settled down for him. Things warmed up for him in a good sense. Like he could sit, he could get outside and play, for example. So he could be outside and experiencing the joys of running around with other kids, and they would involve him in their play. At all, but in a very positive way. And we saw the same things inside. So he didn't have to take 15 minutes to have a tantrum before setting out the napkins for snack, if that was his job that day. Instead, he could spend that, he would be able to do that job in a normal amount of time. And he could spend that time sitting with friends, and having a story read to them, or it opened up the way for much more normal, typical, enjoyable interactions for this little boy. And it can do that for you too. The caveat is you have to follow through. So it took months for this boy to go from tantruming for a long, long time to being able to competently, fairly quickly do these things. And so the mindset is, first of all, recognizing the problem. I think that's really the biggest part of this. This gets beyond mindset and into like practical steps. The first thing we need to do is recognize that we are contributing to this problem with our behavior. And this is a little bit of a no sugar, #no sugar kind of thing, because if, I still do this in my home. I have teenagers and I will still enable them. I will still do learned helplessness type things when I give an order, when I say to them, listen, you guys have gone on long enough. I'm making this decision. I'm taking decision power away from them when I do that. It doesn't happen often, but it definitely does happen sometimes. And I think the best we can do as parents is to try and strive against that, right? So this may be a battle that we never actually, can joyfully proclaim ourselves the winners of, but we can always make things better. We can make things better. And so first of all, recognizing that we're part of the problem. And second of all, stopping with the learned helplessness. In other words, stopping encouraging learned helplessness, insisting that your child gets shoes on, giving your children the expectation, I know you can solve this problem between you, and I'm going to allow you to solve it. And if you're rolling your eyes and thinking, but then they'll attack each other, there are ways to, there are ways to get around that. There are ways to make it so that your kids don't attack each other. And I have a community actually where I teach stuff like this all the time. So you can go to WeTurnedOutOK.com/join-NPC to find out how to become a part of that community. And I will tell you that there's a lot more to this than I can basically communicate in one YouTube live video. But taking it back to the idea of recognizing that we're part of the problem and working to change our behavior is how we're going to be able to change our kids' behavior. So it's a two-step process. First of all, we recognize that we're contributing to this, and second of all, we change what we expect of our kids. And instead we expect more of them. We expect that they will be able to wipe themselves, that they'll be able to get dressed, that they'll be able to pull on their own shoes. And we wait through those tantrums if they happen. Sometimes that's what we got to do, right? So that's really my take on this. I've seen this work again and again. As I said, I've worked with a lot of children and a lot of parents and a lot of families to help them through problems just like this. I can help you with this problem much more in depth, and with whatever parenting problems that you are having, whatever conundrums your kids are giving you. If you join our Ninja Parenting community, it's a place where we have twice monthly live members only calls. In fact, this topic actually got started because of last night's live members only call in the Ninja Parenting community. We had some of the people in the chat were talking about some of the questions that we got were about how to stop my kid from hitting me while I'm trying to do physical things for him, like the potty, like getting shoes on, stuff like that. And that's really where this topic was born and came out of. So if you want to be able to contribute your own questions and your own topic ideas, then go to WeTurnedOutOK.com/join NPC, and then you can be a part of that, which would be really, really awesome, because I love helping parents solve their problems. I also have a podcast, which is called We Turned Out Okay, and that's also incredibly, incredibly helpful. So I have this paid community, but if you feel like you want to have a really good resource for advice about all things child rearing, then go check out We Turned Out Okay, the podcast. It is located at WeTurnedOutOK.com, just like the community is. So hope to see you either over at the podcast or in the community itself. That's where I can really, really help you. So thank you very much for watching today. I hope this video was helpful. Hugs to you if you're going through this. I know how incredibly frustrating it can be when your child is having a meltdown or whining or having a fight, and you're feeling exhausted. Hopefully today's tips help you not feel that way. And if you like this video, please share the link with a friend so that, if they're having the same problem, they can get some help. Click the like button and be sure to subscribe so that you can get every one of these videos. I do them every week, every Thursday. All right, that's all from here. Thank you so much for watching, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.